Hi guys, Miss Hinshaw here. I just wanted to review and go over customary units of weight after watching the video on YouTube. I want to start by asking ourselves, what were some things in the video that they said were about an ounce? I know one thing they said were 4/4 and a small mouse. Remember, as I'm writing things down on my notepad, I'm hoping you're doing the same in your math notebook and taking awesome notes. Let's remember what they said about what weighed about a pound. I remember the girl said, bottle of soda. And then finally, a ton was a car. It's important to kind of visualize in our heads and make it more real to us of what weighs about an ounce, pound, or ton. This is going to make it a lot easier for us to grasp the concepts if we know and we can think of things in the real world that weigh this much. So I wanted to go over that first before we really get into the conversions of weight. Okay, now that we talked about things in the real world that weigh about the same as a pound, a ton, and ounces, I want us to check out this chart right here. This is a reminder from what we learned in the video that 16 ounces equal a pound, 2,000 pounds equals 1 ton, and then 32,000 ounces equals 1 ton. This is going to help us when we start our conversions. So let's start out pretty simple. Let's go with 2 pounds. I'm using the abbreviation for pounds, which is LBS, equals how many ounces? The abbreviation is OZ. First thing I want you to ask yourself, if I'm looking at my conversion chart, would it make sense that my answer, however many ounces, would be greater than the number I start out with pounds or less than the number that I start out with pounds? Well, we know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound, so if there are 2 pounds, we know that this answer has to be a lot bigger than that. So all we need to do, because here it is right here, the conversion we're looking at, we just have to do 16 times 2 equals however many ounces. 6 times 2 is 12, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So we know that there are 32 ounces in 2 pounds. So far, not too hard. Let's move on to the next one. Let's say we have 2 tons. And for the abbreviation for tons is just a big capital letter T equals how many pounds? Well, this time we're looking at the middle conversion. We know that 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So my answer here is going to be larger than what we start with. All I need to do here is 2,000 times 2 equals, let's remember that zeros rule. Cover up the zeros. 2 times 2 is 4. Append the zeros at the end. 1, 2, 3. My answer is 4,000 pounds in 2 tons. Okay, let's take a look at these conversions now. They're a little bigger numbers, so it's going to be a little more difficult. So I want to do a couple with you before you do your own independent practice. Let's look at number 1. 43 pounds equals how many ounces? Well, let's look at the first conversion. That's the one we're going to focus on. We're looking at pounds to ounces. So if we start out with 43, we have to think to ourselves, are ounces going to be a larger number or a smaller number than 43? Well, we know for just 1 pound there's 16 ounces. So I know that we will have to take 43 times 16 to find our answer. So 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Have that placeholder. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. Add them together and you have 8, 8, 6. So our answer right here is 688. Okay, so now we're going to look at the second problem. It says number 3, but it's the second one we're working on. We're focusing on 384 ounces equals how many pounds? So that's going to be, once again, that top conversion. And we're asking ourselves, are our ounces going to be a bigger number or a smaller number than our pounds? Well, this time we're working backwards. We're starting with ounces and we're trying to go to pounds. So that's going to be a division problem. You start out with 384. You're going to divide it by 16. 16 goes into 38 2 times. 16 times 2 is 32. If you take 38 minus 32, 6. Carry down the 4. And 16 goes into 64 4 times, which that equals 0. So we have 24 pounds. So 384 ounces equals 24 pounds. Let's go ahead and just jump on into our very last one. We're looking at 8 pounds equals how many ounces? Let me rewrite 24 here. So we're starting with pounds. We're still looking at that top conversion. If we are starting with pounds and we're going to ounces, our number for ounces is going to be greater. That means we will have to multiply. We're going to take 16 times 8. So you're doing first 6 times 8, which is 48. Carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So our answer is 128 ounces. Okay, just 2 more problems before I want to send you off and work on your own. This time we're actually looking at the tons to pounds. So we're looking at that conversion right in the middle. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So the first one, you're starting out with 6 tons. So you're going from 6 tons to how many pounds? You want to ask yourself, is my number for pounds going to be greater or less than my number for tons? Well, we're moving from tons to pounds. We know that our pounds have to be a much larger number. So we are going to do multiplication. So you have 6 times 2,000. And this is a great time to use our zeros rule. We cover up the zeros. 6 times 2 is 12, and then append the zeros. So our answer for this one is 12,000. And our next one, same thing, working from tons to pounds. So once again, you take your 8, you're going to multiply it by your 2,000. Do the zeros rule. 8 times 2 is 16. Append the zeros. So your answer here is 16,000 pounds.